What's up guys, welcome to the channel. Today this is part one of I reckon 3 videos. I'm going to do a little lockdown garden rally, but I haven't got any rally cars. Well, that's a bit of a lie. I've got my Mini M03 which I've converted to rally spec. We'll be using that. I've got to find it though. I've put it away somewhere. I don't know where I've put it, so we'll find the Mini. It probably needs a bit of work, as do these. But in this box we've got a couple of TA04s. Not the best chassis for rallying. I think these were more for like touring cars, but we're going to work with what we've got. This is my old speed run car. This is the TA04 SS, so it's a shorter wheelbase than the normal TA04 should I say, if I put them next to each other. Over the top you can see the SS shorter chassis, or shorter wheelbase. Pretty sure all it is the rear A-arms are swapped round. So the idea of this video is to make one good one out of the 2. Now I've got a rally body. So Evo, is it an Evo 7 or Evo 8? I don't know, but that fits the TA04 chassis, not the SS. So we're obviously going to have to use that wheelbase. So we're going to have to use that wheelbase. I've got a few different sets of wheels and I've ordered some rally blocks for this. The M03 that I've already converted to rally spec, that's already got rally blocks on it. Suspension's already raised. I think it just needs a drivetrain. Now, looking at these two, this one, my speed run one, I'm going to stick a video just up here to this. Is quite an old one of mine. It's from well over 2 years ago, probably 78 mile an hour I got out of this, and that was just using a 3S lipo and a cheap eBay brushless setup, very high geared, and it's completely uncontrollable at 78 mile an hour, but very capable old chassis. Now this one, I know for a fact I've put a new belt on this, or 2 new belts, a new rear diff, stripped the spur, but other than that I think it's all good, and it's all bull raced as well. This one I don't know anything about because I got it in a I bought 2 or 3 cars a couple of years ago and I've not actually looked at this. All I know is in the box it came with the full carbon chassis hop-ups and a low friction rear belt and stuff. That's not going on this build because I've got another build plan for that, which I'll probably do later on in the year, so we'll put that back in the box. And then we'll have a quick look at this. I want to use this chassis because of the wheelbase, but looking at it, it looks like one of the A-arms has been repaired. The rear diff is stripped and it's got a dodgy belt there as well. So I think we're going to have to swap the spur and the pinion, or look at spurs and pinions and gearing it after we finish. But I think I need to try and switch the A-arms on this and then take a few bits off that, because this hasn't got a belt tensioner. I'll need the body mounts, I'll need the suspension as well. So I'm going to start getting these together. I'm going to try and switch the rear arms round, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what motor and ESC I'm putting in it. I'm putting the same motor and ESC in this as I am in the Mini, so they're both going to be powered by the same system. It'll just be down to gearing and front wheel drive and 4 wheel drive, but the exciting video is probably coming in the next week or 2. This is more of a wrenching video for those that like them. Right, anyway, I'm going to take the rear arms off this and see if I can just flip them over. Hey, look at that screw. It's a bit rusty. One arm, 2 arm. Let's see if this works, shall we? Flip them round the other way. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Right, has that extended the wheelbase? Ooh, I think we have a winner. Just whack a couple of wheels on. Dun dun dun. Yes, good old Tamiya. Let's make a new chassis by just flipping the rear arms round. Awesome. Right, so now I know that has sorted that issue out, and this has got a new diff, new rear belt. All I need to do is put this back together, change these rusty screws, belt tensioner, swap the suspension over, and then I think we're ready to go. This is probably going to be a little bit quicker than I first thought. I thought I was going to have to take diffs apart and change belts and stuff, which can be a bit of a pain, but we are good to go. Right, progress report. We've hit a very slight snag. It's not going to cause many issues, but it seems the wheelbase is now a little bit too long. I don't know whether this body was originally meant for that TA04. Slightly longer now, that is. It might be something to do with the rear arms on there, but that rear arm's broken on this one, so doesn't matter. I'm going to trim it. I'm going to actually make it, probably going to cut that whole rear valance off there, make it look a bit rallied up, if you know what I mean, and then that should clear that issue up. Anyway, that is not going to affect the running of it. So front suspension, a little bonus, that other one had carbon shock towers front and rear, so we've got carbon shock towers as well. I need some longer shocks for the back because that is definitely not rally-esque. Front's not too bad, that's as high as that can go, but I think if I can get the back up a little bit, we should be alright. I'm only going to be running on short grass, and it is just for a bit of fun. So, done as far as that's concerned. So now, spur gear, motor, and then belt tensioner, and then we're probably ready for a test. Also, I found the Mini. Here she is. I'm not going to go into too much on this. We'll do that in the next video, but this is an M03 that I converted to rally spec. They didn't make a M03Ra, they made an M05Ra, and I converted this one, so it's got a really nice high suspension. I've only run it brushed. I don't think I've run it brushless yet, and these are having brushless motors, so I look forward to doing a video of that next. But for now, let's talk about this one. So the combo I've chosen for both of these is a Ghoul RC, nice and cheap. I'll leave a link to these in the description. This is a 3900 kV, so not a massive, it's decent size, decent speed, but not over the top. And then paired up with a 60 amp ESC. This will run 2 or 3S. Comes with a Dean's connector. I've already soldered on a XT60. I'm not a fan of Dean's. I'm more of an XT60 kind of guy. All my lipos are that as well. Yeah, really cheap setup. Bought two, one for this, one for the Mini. Let's get the spur and the pinion off of the old chassis. Let's put them on this. Let's get all this wired in. Get the belt tensioner on, and then I'll find some radio gear, and we're going to give it a bit of a test. Good thing about these TA04s is you can adjust the gearing on them quite a lot. That's why I managed to get that one up to 78 mile an hour. Tiny little spur gear, nice big pinion on there. As long as you've got the power to back it up with a motor and obviously an ESC, you're all good. And I mean, I done that on a really cheap, similar to this, similar setup. It was 120 amp Ghoul RC ESC. I think it was a 5800 kV motor, 78 miles an hour. That's not fast, and if you're thinking about 1/8 scale trucks and stuff, but that is definitely fast for an old Tamiya. It was actually, I think, second or third fastest on the Tamiya forum for quite some time. I think it's sitting at about third or fourth now. The fastest one being, I think it's a TRF. It's about 96 mile an hour. Crazy. I'm just going to whip the motor out of this because it's quite cool by the looks of it. I don't know what it is. Kyosho one maybe? Let's get it out and have a look while we're here. It's probably quite a nice motor. I'll have to do a bit of digging about that one. Or let us know in the comments if you know anything about that. But looks pretty cool. Probably very period for these as well. These were late 90s, I think, maybe early 2000. I mean, statistically, it should destroy that Mini, but that Mini's set up for off-road. This thing's not really going to be. I'd like to see the Mini destroy it. 3650 brushless, which is 540 can size, should and does fit perfectly in here. It's got a 45T pinion, quite a big pinion actually, but I think, was it 48 DP? maybe. I don't know. So even though it's quite a big pinion, it's a big spur as well, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go silly fast. Pinion and spur on, let's get the belt tensioned. So I ran this, I done the speed one, the 70 odd mile an hour with it, without a belt tensioner on it, and it survived okay, but I think this is actually a good option to have on there, because that one's pretty loose, whereas that's got nice tension on it. Can't believe I ran this with all that power with no belt tensioners on. What was I thinking? Pretty basic one on the back, it's just a couple of bearings. Looks like it's just a bit of a guide, obviously stops it slipping, but that'll do the job. Yes. Right, ESC is squeezing there. So all the electronics are in. We've had a few little hiccups along the way, and I've sorted them out off camera, but I'll tell you what they were now. The original gearing I put on, way too high, and this ESC, the punch setting's really low. I think it's got 10 settings, and I think the default setting's 3. So with the high gearing and the low punch setting, it was struggling to get going. So change the spur, change the pinion. We've gone for a 0.6 mod now. I think I've got 25 pinion and a 83 spur, and that seems to have sorted the issue out. Also, the steering was a bit sticky and that, so I've changed the servo, loosened up some of the steering bits and adjusted it, and now the steering seems to be good. The only thing I'm not happy with at the moment is the body. I've put some new holes in it, but it is what it is, and it is going to be a rally car, so I've cut the back here because the wheelbase was off. I don't think it's the car, because you see the front's quite close as well. I think it's where the holes are on the body, so I've tried to adjust it a bit. Doesn't look all that bad, but I'm not happy with it. I might buy a new body before I do the actual running video, but we might just leave it like this. Still waiting for the rally block tyres, but let's take it outside, let's give it a rip, see how fast it goes. I've got my GPS, see how fast it goes, and just give it a quick burn around the garden. It's on the wrong sort of tyres, but we should be good. So we've got steering. As you can see, it's quite a sluggish start. A lot better than it was. I was doing that before, and it was just getting going, and it sped up. Whereas now, got a bit of acceleration. Right, body on, GPS on. Right, zeroed out. First run. That is fast. $50k so far. I reckon we can get a bit faster. $54. Give it a rip around the garden, but I don't think it's going to do very well with the tyres and the low ground clearance at the moment. We arrived before the end of the video. The rally blocks. Let's now give it a rip in the garden. think I need to glue the tyres. There you go guys, 54 kilometers an hour, not bad. I kind of like the back end stripped out like that, but needs must. Anyway, part 2 we'll be getting a Mini done, same motor and ESC, so it'll be interesting to see how fast that thing is. And I reckon this thing's going to perform quite well. Let me know in the comments which one do you think is going to win when we actually do the rally stage. Cheers for watching, look out for part 2, and see you next time.